Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. To start things off, Lightning Labs has released a new feature aimed at improving the usability of the Lightning Network, a Bitcoin payment channel technology aimed at scaling the cryptocurrency called the Lightning Loop. Users will now be able to receive Bitcoin in increasing quantities without having to close and reopen new payment channels. Opening a payment channel requires users to pay the same fees and wait the same amount of time as sending a regular Bitcoin transaction. However, once a new payment method or channel is opened, a user is able to send Bitcoin payments almost instantaneously at a fraction of the cost. Normally, these payment channels are set up by users with a fixed capacity. As Lightning Labs developer Alex Bosworth said, Lightning channels are like tubes of money. Money moves around in the tube, but the total amount of funds remains consistent. So unlike other payment systems, Lightning requires inbound capacity in order to receive the funds. With Lightning Loop, this inbound capacity can be withdrawn so that users can keep the same payment channel to receive Bitcoin. In essence, the Lightning Loop moves funds out of the payment channel and into a Bitcoin wallet, cold storage, or fiat currency via an exchange. This emptying of the channel allows a Lightning user to receive more payments, calling it the Loop Out feature. Bosworth and Wu also highlighted that they were currently working on an opposite Loop In feature to enable payment channel refills with on-chain Bitcoin from wallets or exchanges. There's a lot of energy moving around the Lightning Network right now. It's kind of nice to see. For a very long amount of time, at least about 11 months, nothing was happening at all with the Lightning Network, and now we see that there's a huge amount of energy. How do I say this? That it feels like as other scaling solutions have been proposed for Bitcoin, and a lot of them just simply aren't being used as much as I think other people thought they would be used, Lightning Network seems to have been gaining the most traction and therefore has the most attention being paid to it. And I still believe that Lightning Network is probably going to be one of the very few solutions that we actually have for Bitcoin for quite a, I don't want to say a long amount of time. Whenever it comes to upgrading Bitcoin or putting something on top of Bitcoin, there's usually a huge amount of discussion around it because as Bitcoin is the oldest and longest legacy chain that we have out there, people are usually very hesitant to update it or put things on top of it that might be a failure or that might corrupt the system or that might do anything. Even at the very beginning when Lightning first came out, I think there was like the beginning of the beta testing, and I think people were claiming that they were losing their Bitcoin, air quotes, on the Lightning Network. So everybody wants to make sure that everything runs smoothly, and this is why I think that as Lightning has thus far proven a success, everyone is making sure to continue to build on top of it. And I mean, for what it's worth, it's pretty okay right now. Like it's something that I'm glad that we have. I hope that they continue building it out. I mean, I'm sure that they will continue building it out, but I'm more interested in the other solutions and the other private transaction type things that are going to come. But I think we still have a long, good 2 or 3 years off until we finally start getting those. Next up, this one's very weirdly interesting. An Indian cryptocurrency exchange has launched a program that allows its users to earn interest on their cryptocurrencies held at the exchange. Initially, users can lend Bitcoin, Tether, Binance Coin, XRP, and Ethereum. The CEO of the exchange has shared details about the new offering at bitcoin.com, what have you. CoinCX announced on Thursday that its crypto lending program called DCX Lend has come out of the beta testing phase and is now fully launched. 5 cryptocurrencies are supported: Bitcoin, USDT, Ethereum, XRP, and BNB. Without going into too much, first of all, if you are in India and you plan on using this, please make sure to do your own research to figure out if this is actually legit or how legitimate their services are. Not to say that they're not, just kind of throwing that out there. The second part is I found this the most interesting is because if you've been paying attention, cryptocurrencies aren't exactly liked or super legal in India. Like there's kind of a huge or weird gray zone. So the fact that we are about 5, 6, 7 days away from India having to they're pretty much being forced to give cryptocurrency regulation. And we have another cryptocurrency exchange that has launched, which is kind of weird because a couple of months ago we had a number of other cryptocurrency exchanges in India that were being forced to shut down. We heard like a lot of news that they weren't allowed to do business, that banks weren't allowing them to open up bank accounts. So the fact that this has opened I don't know if this is a precursor of potential amazing things to come, but apparently they have launched. Their thing is kind of out there, and it's not even really ties into the next thing that we're going to talk about. But I'm kind of shocked that this is still open, and maybe they have gotten proper regulatory clarity, which is kind of weird because there isn't proper regulatory clarity within India. So this is cool. This is great. However, I just hope that they remain open because apparently crypto is still not a major thing in India. Like I said, kind of ish, not really tying into it at all. About a couple days ago, there was news, and I didn't report on it because it wasn't super significant, but now it kind of is. 2 days ago, Dubai had their first Bitcoin ATM. Here's a little photo of it. It was inside of a hotel in a wellness center, and apparently it's already been taken down, taken away, been removed by authorities because they claim that the machine doesn't have proper know your customer, anti-money laundering things on it, because apparently you are allowed to buy cryptocurrencies without actually having to show ID or prove who you actually were, and apparently that does not bode well in that country. A lot of people don't know this. Depending on where you are, there are a lot of countries that do not have Bitcoin ATMs or that have had Bitcoin ATMs and they've been seized by the government and local financial agencies because governments don't like it when you can buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies without having to prove who you are. And it's just a very weird situation because there are certain countries, like I said, if you're in one of those countries where you can buy Bitcoin through a Bitcoin ATM without having any or to prove any ID, you're very lucky because it's not like that everywhere. Anyway, apparently the ATM is going to get put back up once proper AML KYC things have been implemented on the machine. They tried to talk about adding something where you had to like show an ID if you were trying to sell it. But not that it's becoming more difficult to be able to buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies anonymously. Like it's a very weird situation because in any other world, you can walk into a shop and you can buy art without having to show ID. You can walk into a shop in certain places and you can hand them money, cash, and you can buy gold and silver. But there's such a huge amount of energy around governments not wanting you to be able to buy cryptocurrencies in the same exact way. I mean, we can all kind of assume exactly why that's happening, but yeah, without digging too deep, let's move on. Next up, Binance, one of the world's most popular and largest cryptocurrency exchanges, has released a report investigating price correlations between major cryptocurrencies. The report comes specifically from Binance Research, the company's market analysis team. They actually came out. So okay, the research report was titled "Are Crypto Assets Highly Correlated?" And they pretty much found out, surprise, that they actually are. Between Bitcoin and I think the top 30 cryptocurrencies, there's a huge amount of correlation that's only gotten tighter as time has actually gone on. We had a chart a couple of weeks ago where people were showing around 2000, I think it started in 2014 or 15, and they were showing how all the coins were very loose. They weren't correlated at all. They weren't really connecting. And for some reason around 2016, 2017, and now even more so right now, the coins are pretty much following exactly where Bitcoin goes. Not much of a surprise there, but what they're seeing is, that's actually becoming quite interesting, is that what we had before is, rather before we had Tether, before stablecoin was even a thing, if you had a cryptocurrency and you wanted to sell it, or you had Bitcoin and you were trying to get into something else, to avoid market volatility, you would simply swap out of Bitcoin or swap into Bitcoin, logically. But because we have stablecoins now and people use them as a safe haven, if you will, to kind of get out of the if the prices are falling by 20%, before your only option was to swap into fiat or to find another coin that wasn't dropping as fast, and you had to jump onto that ship before Bitcoin kind of fell down. What we have now is, that for those who are looking at the screen, or maybe those who are even not looking at the screen, it's a chart that starts in 2014, and you kind of see this huge jumping up more and more into stable coins. You know, kind of the date, I think this is the end of January. Pretty much they believe, or they have come to the conclusion that what they are figuring out is that Bitcoin's stability, or maybe other stability of other coins, is kind of coming down to the fact that when people swap out of a coin, they simply swap into a stable coin as opposed to swapping into another coin. Like before, when we would see instances where we had a lot of other altcoins that people weren't really using, and they were kind of just pump and dumps. Whenever the dump would actually happen, your only option was to swap into the most stable coin, and that was Bitcoin. And this would lead to these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7% rises in Bitcoin, and then everyone else in the world would see, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's pumping. Why is Bitcoin going back up? And then everyone else would start dumping their money back into Bitcoin. Other altcoins would fall. People seeing that the altcoins were falling would take their money out of Bitcoin and swap them into the altcoins in order to be able to get more profits once the altcoins started going back up. And it was this, that's just kind of how the market was. But with the rise of stable coins, it seems this could be a reason why the market is, according to Binance's research, they are not the end all when it comes to information, but this is what they have come to the conclusion about, is that because of this, people are using Tether as opposed to using Bitcoin as an actual base pair. They also found out something called the Binance effect, which after a certain amount of time, as a coin has been added onto their platform and there's no correlation to any other coin, all the coins on Binance start following each other. And this is called the Binance effect because all these coins kind of mimic each other's movements and actions once they have been added to the actual Binance platform. It's kind of interesting. I was listening to a podcast yesterday as well. They were talking about they also called it the Binance effect, but it had nothing to do with this Binance effect. It's more so that Binance is becoming so large. This is not financial advice, Binance is becoming so large, it is kind of becoming this really interesting thing to invest in that people just kind of didn't think about investing into before. Apparently there are tons of, according to the people I was listening to, they were talking about there are like tons of fund managers who are actually trying to buy up Binance coin as if they were buying up XRP or Ether or Bitcoin, because everyone's betting so highly or heavily on Binance because of the dramatic profits that they make. I think in all, I think Binance has 200 people, 200 around the world who work on the platform, who work on everything. That's 200 in total. While you have banks like JP Morgan and Bank of America who have 10, 20, 30, 40,000 workers who are working for them. So with only 200 people, Binance is posting incredibly large figures every single month. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars. I think at the end of 2017, when they had just launched, I think they made over $1 billion and maybe a couple billions of dollars just from the people trading on their platform. That was nothing else. That has nothing to do with anything else that they've actually even launched. So Binance is slowly becoming, or rapidly becoming, depending on how you kind of want to see it, this major entity in the financial world as well. For a while, we've been trying to figure out exactly what would arise from Bitcoin and exactly, the other coins that would kind of come from this. What would be the Amazon or the Google type thing of the cryptocurrency world. Not saying that Binance is or is going to become the Google or Amazon, but there's a lot of people really betting on it, and it has to do with the fact that they noted that the only reason why a lot of people might be staying away from Binance is because the coin may be considered a security within the US, but Binance has set themselves up so great. They've set themselves up in Europe, they've set themselves up in Malta, and I want to say Gibraltar as well. So should any backlash actually come from the US government about the Binance token actually being a security, it has almost no effect on them because they have no office in the United States, and therefore they would be relatively unscathed, so saith the people on the podcast. Yeah, it's all incredibly interesting to see exactly how this ends up going. I'm not going to talk about price predictions for the coin at all. Some of them are completely astronomical when you kind of listen to what they're saying, because the entire point of the Binance coin is that it has so much utility. Like you don't have to use it on the platform, but you get fee reductions if the more Binance coin that you actually hold. The Binance team also buys back some of the Binance coin and also burns them, so that there's even less Binance coin floating around all the time. And this is supposed to happen, I think, until there are exactly 100 million Binance coin. It's kind of incredible. Didn't mean to spend that much time on them. But Binance is always in the news. They're kind of unavoidable at this point. They're a great company. And it's just interesting to see exactly how you can go from not existing in the middle of 2017 to being the largest crypto exchange in the entire world with only 200. Can you imagine just having 200 people work for you? And this is kind of what you create. Sorry about that. Next up, Huobi is in the news. Huobi Global plans to offer its own platform to sell vetted tokens, the exchange announced on social media. With this move, the market operator will compete with Binance LaunchPad in organizing flash token sales. Like I said, you can't get away from Binance. The idea to pre-screen projects and offer small-scale token sales follows a bumper year for ICOs. Unfortunately, multiple projects turned out to be outright scams. Others managed to draw in significant funding in Ethereum only to see their runaway model dwindle during the bear market. Pre-vetted token sales ensure that the project will be only distributed to a limited amount of tokens. Whatever. Anyway, Huobi Prime as a partner will grant earlier access to the tokens before they appear in major exchanges. So what they're pretty much trying to do is that Binance has a platform where they're pretty much allowing new people to kind of launch their ICOs through them, and therefore this is how the tokens are kind of distributed. If I'm not mistaken, I think BitTorrent was one of the first ones, either the first or the second one to actually do this with them. Everyone seems to be mimicking exactly what Binance is doing because they're doing it very, very well. And for what it seems like, I mean, I'm not trying to change this into like a Binance episode. What it seems to be is that I think it was Laura Shin who actually had him on her channel, and she said she was talking to him, and she said that the most interesting thing about him is that she's had other crypto moneymakers, crypto bigwigs, or exchange heads on her actual program, and she said what she found the most interesting is that she was asking Changpeng Zhao exactly how he felt about money and if he was buying anything new because he's a newly minted billionaire. And she said he said he doesn't care for cars or jewelry or anything like that. He says his main focus is just on building up Binance and making sure that Binance is like really good, that it's like super decentralized, that they're working on the decentralized exchange. And this is why I kind of find it interesting that Coinbase still hasn't released their own coin. I'm pretty sure there are internal discussions about it. It seems like a move that they're definitely going to take because everyone is just mimicking Binance right now, because there were so many, and she was saying what's so interesting is that they managed to become and remain the #1 platform during an actual bear market that like tore the entire market down by around anywhere from 85 to 90%, like depending on which coin you're actually looking at. And the fact that they've continued to run forward, haven't really missed any stops, they've been gaining tons of traction. It seems like other places are trying to kind of copy them. There's also a bit of a movement towards ICOs once again. ICOs were seen as one of the main catalysts to actually the cryptocurrency rise up in 2017, is because more people started figuring out what cryptocurrencies were because of ICOs that were being kind of pitched to them. A lot of them were scams. Yes, we know. But there seems to be, they're trying to have a bit of a resurgence for ICOs because there are a lot of legitimate cryptocurrency projects who are trying to launch their stuff. And the most legitimate way, air quote, that it seems to be able to do this is as opposed to just dumping your thing on top of Ethereum and rubbing your hands together and saying, okay, let's do this. You kind of launch it on Binance so that you kind of have or that investors kind of have they know that it's being launched on Binance. Binance is legitimate, and therefore it's not just something that's willy-nilly and that's kind of being thrown all over the place. Anyway, Huobi is also launching their own LaunchPad-esque thing. So we'll see exactly how that turns out in the near future. Next up, IOTA is in the news. Yesterday, the Zeux app team made an announcement through their Medium blog that the company has taken another step towards the cryptocurrency world. This time, Zeux has added IOTA to the list of its payment methods. In a few weeks, regular buyers will be able to use IOTA to pay for goods and services in shops that are friendly towards Apple Pay and Samsung Pay systems. Zeux has got an FCA regulatory license. The company that works in the field of financial services is preparing to launch in the EU next month. Interesting. In 2020, it intends to roll out to the US, where it will be cooperating with a great number of stores, from one selling groceries to coffee shops. Here's the actual, or at least part of the tweet. Here's the actual tweet over. Oh, no, that's not it either. Anyway, Here's the actual website. I thought I had the actual tweet open for them. It's somewhere maybe. Oh, I'm so wow, I'm an idiot. It's right here. I was like, where could it be? Yep, it is right here. So that is definitely official. A lot of people are on one hand, a lot of people are they're both good hands, so don't worry. On one hand, people are very excited because a lot of these things are, using IOTA to be able to pay for things with Apple Pay or Samsung Pay is incredibly significant. On the other side of the good hand, I need to constantly point out and for everyone to realize that this is exactly how adoption should be. It's happening at I don't want to say a rapid pace, but it's happening a lot quicker than we were having it before. I spoke about this in another video as well. It's very nice to hear almost every single day that these things are constantly being added to these other payment platforms. What surprises me the most and what makes me actually the most happiest about all of this is that these things are being added as they're being semi-integrated into things like Apple Pay and Samsung Pay. So you still have the option to be able to pay in cryptocurrencies, even if Samsung and Apple have not outright allowed cryptocurrency payments through their platforms or on their websites. It's kind of very interesting. I like the way that this is all going. Hope that it continues. And yeah, I was trying to look for what other coins Zeux actually had on their platform. They were in the news about a day or two ago. They added something else, and I couldn't remember exactly what it was. I want to say it was XRP, but I feel like it wasn't XRP. I don't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, they just recently added something else to their platform. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. The market is in the red at the moment. Apparently, tech stocks are surging and or going up. There seems to it's a very weird thing happening in the world right now where Facebook can steal and lie and they still kind of make profits. It's a very weird thing that's happening. Anyway, not to get into the whole Facebook tech scene debacle thing. There was news that we had sometime in 2018 where people were finding people have been trying to find a correlation between cryptocurrencies and stocks for quite a long amount of time. And the correlation that we're now seeing is that cryptocurrencies are being equated with actual like tech stocks. I mean, they kind of are tech. I mean, it is technology, but it's being equated as like this super risky technological development. And whenever we see that normal tech stocks actually end up going up, cryptocurrency kind of takes a little hit. Kind of interesting to see how that works out. To be fair, while prices are down, I mean, we're not having like a minus 15% day. I mean, it is just a 1.3%, 2.2%. When we rebound, we typically rebound a bit harder than that. It's the volume that's taking place right now. A couple of days ago, Bitcoin's volume was 8 billion. And a couple of days before that, a week ago before that, it was 4 billion. So we are doing pretty well, doing pretty well volume-wise on all the coins. XRP's volume is usually half of this, if even. Litecoin is also, I mean, every single coin. Litecoin flipped EOS. Everything seems to be doing relatively well. So let's hope that this continues. A lot of people are saying this is a potential precursor to a run-up in the market. I try not to get everyone's hopes up, but I deliver the news, and this is what the news is saying. Alrighty, everyone. That is definitely going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope that you all have a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening. I think today's Friday. Yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. If you got to go to work, hope it goes incredibly fast. Hope your boss isn't there. That would also be kind of nice. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Vlad the Impaler, Gil Boa Snake, Rai, Brady Niels, Ella Doug, Arthur Yaku, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Nick Mangelavori, Travis Haynes, Yasha Harari, Anthony Charles, Nick Kanaya, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Wise Night Owl, Joey Carafa, Crypto Joe, Jim Gardner, Jared Schneider, Jeremy Fox, Amy Starsheen, Richie Rich, The Third, Jeffrey Ramsey, Cody, Carl Brochenoff, Paxis, Jeffrey Dam, Nicholas, One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Setsuna, Minting Coins, Crypnotic, RF Dusty, and ShaolinFriedRice.com. Thank you all very, very much for your support. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.